Hello YouTube, I'm AndyPaul and welcome back to Guitar Guru channel. Today let's have an honest discussion about BOSS KATANA guitar combos. Specifically their latest offering called BOSS KATANA MK2 50 watts EX model, like this one. Why I ordered it? Well, all over YouTube and internet in general, for years now, huge YouTube bloggers and guitar channels been singing praise to this particular BOSS KATANA 50 or 100 watt models.
Super versatile amp. There's a lot of different ways I use it.
So at its core, the BOSS KATANA 50 Mark II EX is that BOSS KATANA that we all know and love. And oh, do we love it! I don't know anyone that doesn't enjoy the BOSS KATANA. It's so amazing for a few different reasons. The first being the fact that it does a lot. From country twang to AC/DC to Dream Theater to you plug an acoustic into it. It does do that country stuff, the Dream Theater stuff, the AC/DC stuff. It does very bloody well. And the third being the fact that it doesn't cost a lot of money.
Finally, Boss think the Katana amps sound so good that they even sound good with a guitar that's out of tune, because none of the Katanas have a tuner. Zero. I said this is the best grab-and-go amp in the world.
And today I am super stoked to be showing off the brand new for 2023 Katana 50 Mark II EX.
So these guys been trying so hard that they actually created this comical situation called expectations versus reality. And reality is gonna hit hard. Ready? Let's go. Just hear the amount of advertising for this combo online. That's ridiculous. Now try to understand, these guitar channels on YouTube have millions of subscribers combined, and the amount of advertising they give for this product is just unheard of. So it reminds me of a paid campaign. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let us honestly review how good BOSS KATANA combo is, and for that purpose we will compare it to a very similar in size and power Vox VT40. It's a non-tube version, same as BOSS KATANA, and it's called VT40 Vox VT40. Let's put it to a test in three categories that most people say BOSS KATANA wins in against competition. First category, it's light, it's not heavy, and it's easy to use or operate. Second category, it can do anything and it does everything so good. Amp modulars, amp simulation, effects, etc. In the third category, it is actually not expensive and it has a lot to offer for the money. So BOSS KATANA 50 EX, latest model. Weight is 23.4. Vox VT40 VT40 non-tube version, 23.4, exact same weight. So now we know that in weight it's not winning against competition, it's exact same weight. Now, how easy to use and operate BOSS KATANA 50 MK2 EX? Well, you have access to 5 amp simulations. So it imitates tube sound, as they say. We will see how true that statement is in a minute. But now you have access to amps, right? And you can change them on the fly and basically record, store your preset or your scene, if you want to call it this way, by pressing and holding longer one of these two buttons. So the biggest problem is it has only 2 channels to store sounds, although the optional foot switcher has 4 buttons, 4 channels and 1 bank, right? But you see, in order to program it and store 4 different sounds, or 4 and 4 in different banks, you need to connect your Katana to your computer and download specific software and use graphical user interface to do all that. So you have access only to amps. There is no separate access to effects, just a couple of them. If you keep pressing these buttons, you will have like access to 2 or 3 reverbs and 3 delays. and 3 effects. That's all. That's about it. And most of these effects are useless. Now its competitor, Vox VT40+. You have access to amps, and it emulates and mimics tube amp sound. Then, as usual, you have gain, volume, treble, middle, bass, master, and so on. But here on the bottom, you have access to actual effects, so you do not need to connect your amp to your computer software to do that. You can do it all on the fly, because let's be honest, if you take your amp to a rehearsal space, or God forbid, a gig, you cannot bring your computers and everything and start changing and memorizing volumes and the level of effects in your computer on stage. Biggest win here for Vox is that you literally have 4 channels to memorize sounds. Same way you press and hold, and it will memorize your preset or your sound that you just made up, and you can change banks. And with optional pedal, foot switch, you can get access to all these 4 channels in each bank. Also, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, the foot switch for BOSS Katana is about 150 bucks, and you pay for it separately. While Vox foot switch is at least 2 times cheaper. Well, if you really have to deal with computer softwares and programming your sounds using your laptop or desktop, why not just get a real guitar processor? Maybe not something as expensive as FM9 Turbo, but Line 6 or even Boss, they make pretty good effects, you know, and you can use it and plug it in directly to your PA system when you rehearse or you're on stage, or you can practice at home using headphones and you don't need anything, and you will have way better quality and more options and better presets and studio-friendly effects at your fingertips. Now the second category, where all of them on YouTube say that BOSS Katana does everything good. It has best-in-class amps, it has best-in-class effects and sounds, and basically it's a winner or best non-tube amplifier altogether in the world. All right, let's check that. So I'm plugged in and I'm in acoustic clean sound. As you can see, gain, volume, bass, middle, treble, everything is at 12 o'clock. I removed all modulations, effects and delays and reverb, and this is the clean sound you actually get here. So one word I can say, the sound is mediocre. All right? So it just sounds like any cheap amp. And if I add reverb, I will put it somewhere in the middle in 12 o'clock position. It gives you a little bit more ambience. Yeah, and you have 2 more reverbs to choose from if you're not connecting to your computer interface. It's this reverb, which is terrible. Just hear this after sound. And there is orange, which is like small plate. So apparently the green one sounds best, right? Other 2 are just not useful. And this is what you get, basically. Right? But get this, I'm just switching from BOSS Katana to its competitor, Vox Valvetronics VT40+. And I'm at clean acoustic sound, everything is in the middle, and this is what you get. Do you hear the difference, or it's just me? Just tell me in the comments, maybe I'm wrong. Again, listen back to Katana. Vox Valvetronics. Now I'm on BOSS Katana in crunch sound, so it has a little bit distorted crunchy sound, and basically this is what it sounds like. The sound is fine, but you see that after sound, aftertaste is ridiculous. Here I'm plugging it to the crunch in channel 2 on Vox, and that's the sound you get. Now the most interesting part in this comparison, I'm in lead, a heavy distortion lead guitar sound on BOSS Katana, and you can hear this white noise coming from the amp. My guitar volume is all the way down, right? So the noise is not coming from guitar, it's coming from amp. With my volume all the way down, compare the white noise between BOSS Katana and Vox VT40. Here, it's completely silent. All right, it's on. So here, just show me. Here, I have sound, right? But if I remove knob, it's silent. If I go back to BOSS Katana, there you go. You have white noise on a very low volume, by the way. And it's set to 25 watts. If I put it to 50, it's even louder. The sound itself also, just get this. First of all, you get a lot of static noise. It's full of sand. The sound is sandy. It's buzzing with the sound like falling out of the bag. If I switch to Vox, first of all, it gives you way less noise. Second of all, there is no sand in sound. You see the difference? Let me plug back. Sandy sound of BOSS Katana. And you say, well, you can adjust and remove these high frequencies to avoid sandy sound. But if I do that, if I remove treble, it still buzzes. If I remove gain, without gain, it loses sustain. With gain, it gives you this sandy sound. No sustain. I add gain. It makes it even worse. And you can hear the static noise coming from BOSS Katana. Coming next to this setting, to the amp called Brown, which is heavier, like thrash metal or, I don't know, heavy rock distortion. It gets worse on the static noise, and it gives you even more sandier sound. So now it's like swoozing. Kind of sound like heavy metal, but it's so cheap. It is so digital. You can feel this digital sound coming from this speaker blasting out like crazy. Can't these famous bloggers hear it? I just don't believe when they have access to such a high level equipment and really nice combos, I just don't believe they can't hear these problems. So if you think that it's my guitar giving these buzzes, compare to Vox. It's exactly the same note, right? Note D on string 5, fret 5. Same note in BOSS Katana. And it's in the most powerful preset, the heaviest distortion it has. Now pretty quick boosters, modulations and effects. So if I start moving this lower ring, it turns booster on. And you can hear that white noise is becoming stronger if I go through other two available options here. You see, it's unbearable. It's not even possible to play. So basically it gives you even more sound. So here. That's just ridiculous. Can't these people hear it? Or it's me? Now with mods, if I turn on mods, it starts giving me on any note I play. I'm not sure if you can hear it on camera, but it's kind of trembles. Like, wow, 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 right? The funny part that even if I remove the mode completely, it still has this minimal effect of rotary. So, wow, it's not solid. It's not solid state sound. Now, I hope you hear how this white noise also when it goes into that phase of rotary. Can you hear it? Wow, it's always doing that. Now, if I try effects, there is green, red, and orange, I think. Green, I believe, is compressor. Does nothing to improve the sound. If I go to next one, red is wow pedal. Very cheap wah pedal. Like, I've never heard worse sound on a wah. And then last one is octave. Octave is 50-50. It's okay. Octave is the only effect that actually sounds legit here. But let me show you octave on Vox Velvetronics. Well, as you could hear in this little presentation, that everything in BOSS Katana, amps, tube simulation, effects, sounds, are not as good as its competitor Vox VT40+. It just loses in each and every category. Maybe the situation will slightly improve if you start purchasing or downloading somebody else's presets for BOSS Katana. But again, if you have to deal with all that, why not just buy a good guitar processor and program it using your computer software? And then they say it emulates, it simulates and mimics tube sound, something that you would get from a good tube amp. But just take a listen from what sound I get playing through real tube amp in my room. And you tell me in the comments if you feel like BOSS Katana tube simulation comes even remotely close to real tube amplifier. Now let's talk about the last, not least, category where they say BOSS Katana shines. It's price tag, and it has a lot to offer for the money. Well, the price tag for BOSS Katana MK2 EX 50 watt is $340 if I'm not mistaken, and it's before taxes. The trick is you will need to buy expression pedal and EX footswitch. Footswitch $150, expression pedal I believe $125. So on top of $350 that you already pay for the amp, you need to spend at least $300 more to be able to actually operate the sounds and control them. Even after you basically pre-record everything using your computer screen, you will need these pedals to eventually get a hold of these sounds physically on stage. So the price instantly becomes closer to $700 for everything after tax, maybe even more than $700. Keeping in mind that for $800 or $900, you can buy Fender Deluxe Hot Rod Tube, real tube amplifier that is gonna blow your mind away. It's just $100 or $200 more, and you get an amp similar in size, right? Similar in capability. It has included in the price footswitch, by the way, you know, on Fender Deluxe. And this kind of amplifier is used by like professionals all over the world. You can see the concerts happening at the Wembley Stadium, or a stadium in Manhattan like Madison Square Garden with huge rock stars performing. You can see this amp on stage and they play through it, and it's gonna be not much more expensive compared to BOSS Katana with all the pedals and softwares and computers that you need to make it function properly. So I just don't see the point why you need BOSS Katana at all. Sounds are terrible. Amp simulations, probably worse effects. I don't know, maybe some of them, if you start playing with your computer software, you will find some useful ones. But again, you need to carry this laptop with you and be able to plug in on stage or at your rehearsal space to be able to even change and record volumes for all 4 channels, for all 4 presets, which is almost impossible to do. It's just a burden. In conclusion, just be honest. Place your palm on your heart and answer this question for me and put it in comments. All right, let's have a discussion. Maybe it's me, maybe I'm wrong. Do you think that all these big YouTube channels are actually paid for this promotional campaign? They've been advertising this BOSS Katana for 4 years, and they convinced me, and I'm pretty sure hundreds of thousands of other people to buy this combo. But do you feel now that it's a paid campaign? They either get free stuff from Roland/Boss company, or they straightforward get paid for praising their product. Just let me know what you think. That was all I had to say about BOSS Katana latest offering, EX model. Maybe with 100 watt you will get more ambient sound, but I would still go for Vox. Either get non-tube version, which is very cheap. It's like $100 cheaper than BOSS Katana. I believe you can get Vox VT40 for about $250. And then expression pedal for it and basically foot switch is gonna be 2 times cheaper compared to BOSS Katana foot switch. So you just do the math for yourself. And again, this was me, AndyPaul, and you were watching Guitar Guru channel. And until next video, God bless and take care.